Good day, class. This is the default workflow for working between Adobe Substance Painter and Blender. Let us start by dragging our 3D file to the viewport of Substance Painter. I have sculpted Viktor's staff from the Arcane Season 2 show for this example. This workflow doesn't use a low poly mesh, so please take note if you have extra RAM in your PC or laptop. Let us start by going to the texture set settings, and start baking the mesh maps. After baking the mesh maps, we can now start adding smart materials to the different components of our staff. Currently, the staff is composed of 3 parts: the arcane sphere, staff body, and the staff ornaments. For this workflow, we will only be using smart materials and masks with generators. You can also implement your own texture painting style by adding a custom paint layer just like what we did on our previous class. These texture painting layers can be stacked to create the desired effect. Also, please take note that you can choose what specific channel a layer it can influence. You can play with the different settings for each layer and masks to achieve your texture painting style. Substance Painter also have visual effects that can be toggled in the camera settings. To add a glow to the arcane sphere, please open the Texture Set Settings panel and add an emissive channel under the Channel section. After that, turn off the materials for color, metallic, roughness, height, and normal, then only turn on emission. Change the emission color to see the effect. Toggle the Activate Effects checkbox again from the camera settings or change the threshold value to see the glow. To change the emission intensity, go to Shader Settings and increase the emissive intensity. Let us now export our textures so that we can use it to Blender. Go to the menu bar and select File, Export Textures, and under Output Templates, select Blender, Principled BSDF. In the settings, change the output location to your project folder. Click on Export and wait until all textures are exported. To make sure that our textures are compatible, export the mesh in Substance Painter. The mesh will then be used in Blender. Any compatible format will do. Import the 3D file in Blender. If the model is too big, scale it down to its proper size in respect to Blender's viewport. Set the Blender's workspace to have a shader editor. Before you continue, make sure that you enabled the Node Wrangler add-in in Blender. This will enable you to quickly add the texture files from Substance Painter. Select the Principled BSDF node and click the Add Principled Setup button from the Node Wrangler add-in. Then, select the texture files based on the active material in Blender. Continue the process until all the materials have been assigned with textures. To enable the glow effect in your viewport, open the compositor editor and enable Use Nodes. Add a glare filter and turn on Always in the compositor section of the viewport shading options. After enabling the compositing effects in the viewport, adjust the compositing node settings accordingly to balance the effects. If you are using Eevee as your render engine, you can turn on ray tracing for a better render quality. Congratulations! We have successfully textured Viktor's staff using Substance Painter and used them in Blender for the final render. Also note that you can further experiment in your compositing nodes, like adding a Kuwahara filter for the cartoony effect and camera distortion. If you have additional questions, class, feel free to message me. In good luck. Happy texture painting!